Hey guys, Vaxel289 here, and today I'm going to be doing a deck profile on my Super Heavy Samurai deck. This deck is actually really fun to play, and it can be really competitive at times. I just love the idea of an entire monster card deck. Really quickly, the deck list is down below if you don't want to hear me explain a lot of the cards, but yeah, let's just get into it. First I run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Big Benkei. Big Benkei is a really good card in this deck, obviously, for what it does. It's got 3,500 beat stick, and it's just amazing. It lets you other Super Heavy Samurai monsters attack too. Also, really big to note is you can tribute summon this card, so if your opponent tries to lock you with a special summon, like Vanities or something, Dijon Lock, you can still tribute summon this card, and it's still really aggressive. So I love this card for what it does. I run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Big Waraji. This card's mainly used to get out Big Benkei easily, but it can also be a nice wall that you can special summon onto your side of the field. This is kind of a personal choice, but you can take it out if you like something better. This is my choice over Battle Ball, mainly just because I don't think Battle Ball is that great in this format. So when maybe Shuten Doji comes back, I'll probably drop these 2 for Battle Balls, but right now, I like what they do. Next you run 3 Scales. Scales is another really important card in this deck, as it can really easily make rank 4 plays, but it's also it's a key card in getting out Super Heavy Samurai Warlord really easily. So again, really good card. It's a must play at 3. Next we run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Blue Brawler. Again, this card is mainly used for a wall. It's really good, as it can't be destroyed by battle, and it's one of the few Super Heavy Samurais that can change its battle position when it's normal or special summoned. Again, it's a 2,000 beat stick when it's Big Benkei's on the field, and it's just a nice wall to have. Also, when your opponent runs into this card, its effect is negated or something, and dropping Soulbuster Gauntlet, it's devastating, so I like it a lot. Next we run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Flutist. This card's another really good card, as you can tribute it, and then special summon a Super Heavy Samurai from your hand, and when it's in the graveyard, if one of your Super Heavy Samurais is targeted, you can banish it and negate that effect and destroy that card. Really good card, can easily get a Big Benkei, and a great defensive card in the graveyard. Next you run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Trumpeter. It can special summon itself from the hand if you have no spells and trap in your graveyard, and if you do that, you can only special summon Super Heavy Samurais for the rest of the turn. It's also good as if it's tribute summoned. If it's tributed for a tribute summon of a Super Heavy Samurai monster, it comes back from the graveyard. So again, really good card. It's your main tuner because I don't run Battle Ball, but that's why it's really important in my deck. But it's still one of the better tuners in the deck, obviously. So you gotta run it at 3. Moving on to Super Heavy Samurai Soul cards, we run 3 Super Heavy Samurai Soulpiercer. Soulpiercer is your Stratos of the deck. When it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Super Heavy Samurai from your deck to your hand, except for Soulpiercer. It's a really good card. Just note, if you used it for the XYZ summon, you can't get its effect off if you detach, but it's really handy when you use this card for a Synchro summon, and you can still get its effect off, so really good. Next you run 2 Soleband Cannon. When it's equipped, it gives one of your monsters, Super Heavy Samurai monsters, 1,000 defense, which is really good. And when it's in the graveyard, you can banish it when your opponent activates a card effect, destroy one of your defense-boosting Super Heavy Samurai monsters, and essentially nuke the field. And it's really good, and also deals 1,000 damage for each player when it does that. So it's a really good card to just remove things you don't like, and it's a burning damage card, so really good. Next we run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Soulfire Suit. This card is really good. You don't want to use it as an equip card, because it's just a lackluster effect. The main effect you want to use is when it's either player's turn, you can discard this card and then target 1 defense-boosting Super Heavy Samurai monster and you control, and until the end of the turn it loses 800 defense but cannot be destroyed by battle or card effect. That's an amazing effect. It's a really good defensive card, and I just love it. I want to run it at 3, but there's just no more space, but it's still nonetheless a great card. Next you run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Soulbuster Gauntlet. This card, like Soulfire Suit, you really don't want to use its equip effect. It's not that great, but its hand trap effect is amazing. When a Super Heavy Samurai monster you control battles your opponent's monster, you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard, and that Super Heavy Samurai's defense doubles. That's a really powerful effect in my opinion, and you can easily go for game with this card, or if your opponent attacks into one of your weaker Super Heavy Samurais, just double its defense and deal a bunch of damage to your opponent. So again, really good card. And for the last Super Heavy Samurai monster, we run 2 Soulbeads. Soulbeads, in my opinion, is a really good card. It's good when it's equipped. The Super Heavy Samurai can't be destroyed once per turn, and when it's in your hand, you can send it to the graveyard to bring back one of your defense position monsters that were destroyed that turn in face-up attack. Its second effect is really amazing because it's just any defense position monster, so you can use that pretty well in this deck if you know what you're doing, but other than that, it's still a really, really good card. And then moving on to non-super heavy samurai cards, we run 2 Swordsman of Revealing Light. This card's amazing as it can destroy like weak monsters and use it for just overall defensive purposes. You can go for rank 8 XCs using this card. I do run one rank 8 XC just in case if I ever do that, but I rarely do that. Next we run 2 Machina Fortress, just for more attack power in this deck, because you don't always want to be defensive because that tends to happen, but Machina Fortress can let you go on a little bit offensive role. This card works really well with Soulbeads, because you can put this card in defense and bait your opponent, let it be destroyed by battle, pop something, and then bring it back in attack, which is I've done multiple times, and it's just a really good effect to get off. Next we run 1 Gorz. Gorz is Gorz. I love Gorz. It's an amazing card, amazing hand trap. If I had another one, I'd probably run 2, but I only have 1, so I run 1. Next we run 3 Giant Rat. This card is essential in a super heavy samurai deck, mainly because of what it can do. When it's destroyed by battle into the graveyard, you can special summon 1 earth monster with 1500 or less attack from your deck in face-up attack position. This is really good for getting out big Benkei, or actually any of your super heavy samurais except for Soulfire Suit. I don't know why you would want to get any of the soul cards, but mainly use it to get out big Benkei. And it's devastating. Setting this card face down and having your opponent run into this card, they flinch a little bit because they know what's going to come out. So especially if they don't have a response for it. Next we run 3 Battle Faders. Battle Fader is Battle Fader. I don't think I have to explain that much. There are times when you just don't have anything to put on the field, and Battle Fader can really help you with that. And last but not least, a little tech card of mine. 1 Level Eater. I really like Level Eater in this deck. It's worked out really well. It can be used as a really good card for tribute summons, for big Benkei, and it can help out your synchro plays a little bit. And overall, it's just a fun card to have in the deck. It's just worked out in my opinion. I wish there was a way to discard or mill, because this card would be a little bit better. I'd probably run it at 2 if I had the ability to mill in this deck, but sadly you do not, so I wrote it at 1. It's a really good tech card. If you don't like it, you can switch it out for something else. For the extra deck, we run 2 Super Heavy Samurai Warlord Susanowo. This card is insane. It's a 3,800 beat stick, and it can once per turn during either player's turn, if you have no spells and traps in your graveyard, you can target 1 spell and trap in your opponent's graveyard, set it to your side of the field, but banish it when it leaves the field. This is insane because now you can mess with your opponent, and they now have to worry about what they put in the graveyard, what they use, because if this card can get it and be used against them, it's devastating. Like a Regeki, a Dark Hole, Fiendish Chains, Mirror Force, all of these cards are devastating if you get them onto your side of the field. And you can even take things like Shaddoll Fusion and just, any card they recycle, any spells and traps they try to recycle, you can take if you haven't already taken a card. It's just really, really amazing, in my opinion. So, running 2 is necessary in the deck. So you run 1 Leo, Keeper of the Sacred Tree. You don't really go into this card, to be honest, but it's an option to go into, and it can be devastating if your opponent doesn't have an answer for it. Again, you really don't go into this card, but there are times where you might want to, and yeah, go for it. You run 1 Hot Red Dragon Archery. This is my level 8. For level 8 and level 7, you really don't go into them that much, and it's a little effort to go into them, so I chose wisely. Like, my thought process with Hot Red Dragon Archfiend is, if I'm going to work a little bit more, use a little bit more resources to go into a level 8, I'd rather go into a card that's pretty helpful. So it was either this or Stardust, and I chose this over it because this is better for a field removal card. Similarly, I run 1 Clearwing Synchro Dragon. It was either this or Black Rose in my processes. I don't want to use so much resources to essentially have nothing on my field. I'd rather get Clearwing Synchro Dragon off and then have my opponent waste effects on this card for no reason, and just get, plus off of it. So yeah, that's the main reason I use Clearwing Synchro Dragon over Black Rose Dragon. If you like Black Rose Dragon better, go ahead, go for it. And now we have a huge toolbox of level 6 Synchro monsters. Starting off with Goyo Guardian. Goyo's insane. I don't really think I have to explain Goyo. It's just necessary in almost any level 6 based Synchro deck. 1 Metaphys Horus. I like it a lot because the main effect you get is the effect negation, and again, you don't really get that off too much, so it's really nice to have. One HTS Syhemath, another card I really like to have, just another option. The ability to banish your opponent's monsters if you can't get over it for some reason. This card's really handy because it really doesn't target either. So, yeah, really good card. Next year one Barkion. You can make Barkion relatively easily in this deck, so you gotta run Barkion if you can make it easily, and with it, obviously, Naturia Beast. Beast is less likely made in this deck, mainly just because you don't. It's a little bit more effort to get out, to be honest, and yeah, you really just don't get out Beast, but Barkion you get out many times. And then for the last synchro, we run one Armades because, like Beast, you barely get it out, but it's still really handy to have, so yeah. Moving on to XE monsters, we run one 107 Galaxy-Eyes Tachyon Dragon. I don't have a Felgran, but this card is still amazing in my opinion. It can do a lot of damage. If you have a Felgran, easily replace this card because Felgran is really good and it's probably better than 107. But this is the best I got, guys. One 101. Don't really think I have to explain 101 either. It's only one of the big generic rank 4s I have, and the only one I run in my deck. Castel is another great option, but I just like 101 a little bit better. But yeah, it's up to you. On one Golith. This card I mainly use for the ability to gain 800 defense. All monsters you control gain 800 defense. This is actually pretty handy as it can create a nice big buff for almost every Super Heavy Samurai monster you control, and it can easily push like Big Benkei and Warlord over 4,000, which is, in my opinion, always great to have. And for the last one, we run one Geargant X, because you can make it and it helps searching things out. So, again, Geargant X. Going into this, using Soulpiercer is not as devastating because you still get a search off. So, yeah, Geargant X. Well, there you guys have it. That was my Super Heavy Samurai deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. It's a really fun deck, and overall just can be crazy at times, and if your opponent is not careful, it can be devastating. It just completely blows people's minds to see what this deck can do. An entire monster card deck being this consistent is kind of insane. But yeah, Super Heavy Samurais, guys. Thanks you guys for watching. If you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, and if you have anything you guys would run and recommend, helpful criticism, please leave it down in the comment section below. I would love to listen and, accept help. But other than that, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys later.